been a day of talks for German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu. Merkel landed in the Turkish capital late on Sunday and spent Monday with the Prime Minister discussing how Turkey plans to cope with the ongoing refugee crisis at its borders. Turkey is now hosting almost 3 million people, and that figure is set to rise as thousands sit waiting at the border, preparing to either pass through and go on to Europe or stay here in Turkey. After the meeting, Davutoglu and Merkel held a press conference where they both addressed the ongoing refugee crisis.
When it comes to giving our best in terms of humanitarian aid, there are millions of Syrians at the borders, and of course we are going to help our Syrian brothers and sisters. We are going to accept them inside, but nobody should actually say that Turkey is going to accept Syrians anyway.
Meanwhile, Merkel says Turkey will be supported when it comes to the refugee crisis, but highlighted the need for more legal routes of migration.
What is important not only for Turkey, but for us as well, when we want to prohibit illegal migration, we should also be ready to accept legal refugees. We can't ask Turkey to stop everything and then to speak about contingencies in 6 months. These things have to go together.
Well, let's cross to Francis Collings, who's live in Ankara, where that meeting took place. Francis, good to see you there. The situation then with refugees was very much the main topic up for discussion today, but what else was on the agenda?
Essentially, that was it. I mean, we are talking in a sense of two people who tend to agree from different perspectives. You have Germany, the EU nation that's accepted most of the refugees who have migrated across the Aegean Sea, compared to other EU nations, of course, and Turkey, which hosts the most refugees anywhere in the world. And as you were saying, some 3 billion refugees are now within Turkey's borders. The events of last week, of course, have accelerated the concern and certainly prompted these talks to move forward at some pace. Now, there was nothing concrete that came out in the press conference. They spoke a lot about cooperation. They did have some common themes. Certainly were condemning of the Russian airstrikes on the civilian populations in Aleppo, which has led to this migration northwards from Aleppo towards the Turkish border crossing at Kilis in the south of Turkey. Both were highly condemning of those strikes and what has gone on. Angela Merkel was saying that the refugees massing on the border was caused by these Russian airstrikes. The other common theme was about the smuggling, about the people smuggling, about those people who are profiting from getting refugees across the Aegean Sea. The Prime Minister, Ahmet Davutoglu, said that they were meeting at the moment in government to try and establish a new law to raise the punishment level of people who are found guilty of people smuggling. A punishment level, he says, that could be comparable with acts of terrorism.
You mentioned there what's happening in Aleppo and everything that's going on in the ground there. We've got the refugees massed at Turkey's border. We've got these talks in Geneva scheduled or rescheduled for later this month. Is there a feeling, do you get, that neither of these issues can be fully resolved or addressed until the future of Aleppo is decided?
There's certainly a very strong feeling that things changed about a week ago. Those talks were abandoned last Thursday, and of course, as we've learned from history, as we learned from other comparable situations down the years, perhaps the Bosnian conflict is the best example. The parties come to the table with different things to trade, different ideas, different concepts. Certainly the Syrian opposition was asking for a stop to all bombing before they would even start talking last week. Now, the advantage has certainly turned in favour of the Syrian government, backed up, of course, by those Russian airstrikes. So it does seem at the moment that the landscape, if we compare it to a week ago, has changed markedly when it comes to negotiating some sort of settlement, some sort of ceasefire, some sort of resolution to end or halt or slow down a conflict that, don't forget, has been with us for very nearly 5 years now.
OK, Francis, thank you very much. Francis Collings reporting there in Ankara.